I'm Lynne with Soft Squares. Today I'm going to be starting a tutorial series coming out of this book. This is by Carolina Moore. It's the 10-inch square quilt block book. It's specifically for layer cakes or anything that's 10 by 10. So a lot of companies might call them something different, or you can even just cut yardage. But if you have a bunch of these hanging out, this is the perfect book for this. So I'm going to start doing once a month, maybe a little give or take. I mean, I might throw in a couple a month. I don't know. Just watch for it. I'm going to be working out of this book, and it does require, or it's very helpful to get her cake cutter ruler as well. Both of these can be found at softsquares.com, my website. So if you have questions, let me know. But I am going to be working with both of these things. Now today, the first one I'm going to do is called Quarter Log Cabin, which happens to be what's on the cover of the book. And part of what made me decide to do that is the layer cake that I will be playing with today. And I have this American Jane layer cake. And you can see on the back of it, with it being Riley Blake, they show you most of it is dark. There's only like 2, 4, 6 that are going to be on the light side. So there wasn't a whole lot where I could equally split, lights and darks, or even get a third of it to be light. So I needed something that would do well with all the darks everywhere. And that's just a small pin dot. So that will be fun without a big print. But it looks like you can do it with a print. In fact, her sample on the cover has some big print, so use whatever makes you happy. So now this is my first time using this ruler, so it's still in its plastic. Now it says for the, oh, by the way, I'm on page 94 if you decide you want to do this with me. The square up block size is 8.5 inches, and then your finished size will be 8. And my favorite tool, especially for layer cakes, is this guy. You've been watching me do any sewing for any amount of time, you can see this is almost always on my counter here, and it's going to be perfect for squaring up blocks. This is a 11 inch, so 8.5. We won't have any trouble at all making that fit on there, so that will be nice, and it doesn't even have to rotate. I just like the size of this. So anyway, so you're going to need quilting rulers, and this is one of them. Rotary cutter, I've got that. Cutting mat, we just did. The iron and the ironing board. So I've got my iron, it's heating up right now. This is my ironing board. Need sewing machine, thread, and then batting when it comes time to sandwich and put it together. And this finished size for this one is 48 by 56. For this quilt. Now, I have yardage in this, and so when I'm done with it, I might even put a border on it. So her quilt, that's all it is just using the layer cake and calling it good. I might go a little bigger. I don't know. We'll see how I get, what it looks like when I get there. I might call it good, or I might want to go just a little bigger. It's your pattern. You can do whatever you want with it. So start in with this. The fabric I'm using is called American Jane Pin Dots by Riley Blake. There's all these little tiny little pin dots all over there. And I have a bunch of these still in stock. So if you like what I'm playing with, you should be able to get it too. Now in her book, there's a lot of pictures. And what this is this is a 10 by 10 square, and that's in brown. And it's showing you how you're going to be cutting out each of your blocks. And it did say we are going to use 42 10-inch blocks. And typically a layer cake has 42 pieces in it. Sometimes they only have 40. And if you end up in that situation, just find some coordinating fabric that goes with it, and you'll be fine. Or if you happen to have yardage of it, that fixes your problem right there. Okay. So I'm going to, it says cut all your pieces from the 10-inch square as shown in the diagram, which I will show you how to do this. And basically, you're going to lay them all out, but then you're going to cut it in sections. So once you put this here, then cut that off there, you're going to be left with just this piece. So this will make sense as I'm doing it. I'm pretty sure you'll get it. And I don't know if this particular pattern calls for this pattern or this template or not. It might, and actually I can see that it has square, lines that go like that. And that's basically what our block looks like. So I don't know, let's see. On the back of this, it even gives you fabric instructions for a couple simple blocks on the back of this. You can use a cake cutter ruler to turn a pre-cut stack of 10-inch squares into a finished quilt top. So this just came out this last year. Might have been towards the end of 25 or the first part of 26. It hasn't been out that long. I can't remember. Okay, so I'm going to take a small stack of this, even though they're all going to get cut. I don't need all of them. Besides, I can't cut. I think this is just cute. So I'm going to hold on to that. And I don't think I need that. I am going to, no, I'm not. This whole line is just polka dots. So they might have light dots or dark dots on them. Most of them seem to be, well, it's a good range. So I'm going to leave them right here in this order. And I don't even know if there's any duplicates. I want to know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 30. There's 30 colors and there's 42 pieces. So there will be about 12 that will be a duplicate. Not too bad. And I see one of them right now. It's a purple one. All you purple lovers, you'll be happy. And the navy is one other one. And it looks like I found the little area where they are, which is the darker colors. It doesn't matter. So I was just trying to figure out if I needed to pick these up in any certain order. And I don't think so. So I'm going to pick up, I don't know, like 4 at a time. And funny little corner is. There we go. The first thing is we are going to cut this first piece. Now I'm not going to say what the measurements are because you really do need to get the pattern, but I do want to show you how to lay this out and how to cut this. So you might get some of the dimensions just by accident. But I will tell you these are 3-inch blocks or 3-inch width of strips when we are putting them together. All right, so I've got this. Now, remember, some of these have pinked edges. Most of them do, not all, but we are not using all of this fabric. In fact, if you see how this is laid out here, there is a left and a bottom margin. So that tells me that I can cut off the pinked edges because I am not going to need to go that far on the fabric. So it will make a little bit of a mess, but it will actually be easier to follow, I think, for me. And I'm struggling with having more than one at a time. Maybe it's not what you want to do. Do this. I'm just trimming that up, and I actually will have leftovers, even though I'm being really sparing with this. So, first thing, it says well, I'm going to continue going around my block. Okay, now I have a block. And just out of curiosity, how much is it now? It is 9 3/4. Really didn't take much off. Excuse me. Okay. First thing, I'm going to cut this bottom one, and it says it needs to be 3 inches wide, and I happen to see the 3 is right here. You don't need to see me, you need to see that. Our first piece, and I'm going to make it by the size it says it needs to be. This little piece on the end left over. Pretty good size so far. Okay, so there's one of them. Next, it says to go from the side in 3. From this to the size it needs to be. Extra. Now, when I'm done cutting these out, I'm going to lay them on the board so that it matches this. I am doing it slightly different because my brain understands this a little differently. But so if you like what I'm doing, great. If you like what the book is doing, great. Almost the same. I'm kind of doing like left-handed version or something. I don't know. Okay, so we have that one. Next, we're going to take square at this point. Okay. Always not a good angle. I did not have very good leverage, and I knew better, but I did it anyway. All right. I have that one. Now I need to trim a little bit off of it. I'm going to take it off of that corner. And then our last piece, we've done those two, and this one is this. Okay, so I'm going to do it right this time. So here are all my pieces. So I'm going to rebuild the block and show you where everything belongs. So we have this piece, be here. There's my block. It's almost laid out like she did it. The way she's got it, this is actually slightly rearranged, a little bit different. However you want to do it, but this is what worked for me. I just took the biggest piece, which she's actually saying right here, you want to isolate this piece from there. And then with this piece that's left, you're going to cut this piece out. And with that piece that's left, you're going to cut the next piece out. And you're going to do this to all of them. So I'm not going to do that to all of them right now for this video. I am going to play with just these blocks because they're already here. Now these are the pieces I don't need. It's actually kind of a lot. And you only need 3 colors per block, and I cut 4. Although I think there might be 2 reds in here. Yep, there's 2 reds. So really I only have 3. So that works. And it looks like, by how I'm starting out, I'm going to kind of make my blocks like a rainbow, meaning keeping their color groups together. We'll see if I stick with that plan or not. All right, so I'm going to lay out all 3 blocks. Now I've got these 3 right here. I'm going to leave them in that order. So I'm building it this way, where I'm going to have a square up here at the top. And then the next size is going to be a square, but it's going to be the same as what is going to go here as far as color. So I'm going to take this one, move it to the bottom, and this one, and move it to the bottom, keeping my fabrics in order. And then this size over here is going to be the bottom one. So I'm going to take the top 2, move them down, stays in the same order. Same with this one. And when I pick them up and sew them together, I actually have 4 or 3 blocks just stacked right here, ready to pick up and start sewing. So I'm going to start doing that right now. Yep, attach these 2, then attach this to it, attach this to it, and attach that. This is going to be simple. I am going to chain stitch and make all 3 blocks here. It'll just be easier. Oh, I did that wrong. Now I'm really confused. I shouldn't be confused. This needs to look like this pile. That needs to go there. This is the top. That's okay. You might get confused too. I know I mixed up my piles, but I will make sure we're right before I move on. But basically, you should have, doing it this way, 1 or 3 completely different sets. I don't think it wants to stay open. Okay. Doesn't give pressing instructions, which is good. I just pressed through the dark. All right, so I need on the bottom of this pile, it needs to be pink right here. The next one up is red, and it needs to be red right here. And then the top one is this pink one. And I'm going to make sure those are really where they're supposed to be. You want to make sure that whatever's here is not over here. And that's, yep, we're good. Okay, now I will keep them straight. Now you want to really make sure you have this laying down right and you don't have your blocks turned, because then everything will be going wrong. Okay. bottom needs to be. Okay, so this and this have to match. Alrighty, I have 3 blocks. And 3 that are all different. And they're not very square. This one's worse. But I will even it up. I'm going to wait though because I just want to make sure I can trim it right. So theoretically, it can go together like this. Although I'm going to intersperse them throughout the quilt so they're not all in one block. Partly because the fact that I don't have a 4th one that looks like this to put in here. You could, if you used yardage and actually made one more rope, and then you would make 4 because you'd have 4 pieces of fabric to start out with. Anyway, I'm going to keep making these blocks, and then I will update you on my stitch-uation, my progress on this. But that's how you build the blocks to make this, and then the rest of it is just organizing it on the design wall and sewing it together. And I'm pretty sure that if I get this done before I go to edit this tape, I will include that here. But otherwise, just watch my Saturday stitch-uation where I give you updates on my projects, and I'll let you know the progress of this particular one. I don't think it's going to take very long now that I've wrapped my head around the cutting. So I wish you luck, and I hope to see and hear about your projects. Thanks for joining me. Have a good day.
Soft squares, soft and bright, stitching smiles day and night.